It was a rainy Saturday afternoon when my 10-year-old son, Liam, begged me to visit my old childhood home, the house where I grew up, the one my parents still lived in. I hadn't been there in years, not since my father's health began to decline and my mother became different, distant. I'd avoided that house because it held memories that were heavy, complicated, and filled with the kind of silence you can't explain to a child. But Liam was curious about his grandparents, and after weeks of him asking, I finally gave in. I wish I hadn't. The drive took 3 hours. My son was in the back seat, playing with his tablet, completely unaware of the uneasy feeling that grew in my stomach as we got closer. The neighborhood hadn't changed much, but the moment I saw the old 2-story house sitting alone at the end of the road, my chest tightened. The paint was peeling, the yard overgrown, and the curtains drawn even in daylight. It looked abandoned, but I knew they were inside. My parents never left home anymore. When we pulled up, I could already see my mom peeking through the living room window. She opened the door before I could knock, smiling in that strange, forced way she always did when she was trying to hide something. "You came," she said, voice trembling. Her eyes darted to Liam. "And this must be my grandson." She hugged him tightly, almost too tightly, and he looked at me with a nervous smile. Inside, the air smelled faintly of mildew and something else. Metallic, maybe? It was darker than I remembered, the curtains drawn shut, and though everything was clean, it felt off, like someone had tried too hard to make it look normal. My dad was sitting in his old recliner, thinner than I remembered, his hands trembling slightly. "Hey, Dad," I said. He nodded but didn't stand up. His voice was hoarse. "Didn't think I'd see you again." Liam wandered around the living room, curious about old family photos. My mom offered him cookies, insisting he sit near her, while I tried to talk to my dad. "You said you used to play down there when you were a kid." Before I could answer, my mom's expression changed completely. She froze, her smile faltering. "No," she said quickly. "It's not safe down there. Old wiring, mold, dangerous." Her voice trembled slightly. My dad said nothing, just stared blankly ahead. Liam looked disappointed but shrugged it off. I brushed it aside too. But that seed of curiosity had been planted. A few hours later, while my mom was making tea and my dad had dozed off in his chair, I noticed Liam wasn't in the living room anymore. "Liam?" I called out. No answer. I checked the kitchen. Empty. Then I heard the faint creak of a door, the sound I knew too well. My stomach dropped. The basement. I rushed down the hallway and saw the basement door slightly open. "Liam!" I called. No reply. I flicked on the light. The bulb above the stairs flickered weakly. I could hear his small footsteps on the concrete below. "Don't go down there," I said, descending the stairs fast. When I reached the bottom, Liam was standing still, facing the far corner of the basement. His flashlight illuminated something I hadn't seen in years. An old wooden chest, large and sealed with heavy metal latches. He turned to me slowly, his face pale. "Dad," he whispered. "We need to leave. Now." His tone stopped me cold. I'd never heard him sound like that before, not scared, but certain. I started to say something, but then I noticed it too. The smell. That same metallic odor, stronger now. My heart pounded as I approached the chest. The air felt heavier, colder. I kneeled down and touched the latch. It was new, recently replaced. I tried to open it, but it was locked. Liam tugged my sleeve, whispering again, "Please, Dad, let's go." Something inside me said to listen, but another part, the one that had always wanted answers from this house, pushed me forward. I grabbed a nearby hammer and pried the lock open. My hands shook as I lifted the lid. Inside, wrapped in layers of plastic and old blankets, was a body. Small, frail, a child. The smell hit me like a punch. I stumbled back, gagging, my mind refusing to accept what my eyes saw. Liam screamed and clung to me. I pulled him close, trying to cover his eyes. My voice cracked as I whispered, "It's okay, it's okay," even though nothing about this was okay. Before I could even think of what to do next, I heard footsteps behind us. My mother was standing at the bottom of the stairs, her face pale and expressionless. "You weren't supposed to see that," she said softly. Her voice was calm, almost detached. "You shouldn't have come down here." I froze. "What is this?" I shouted, my voice shaking. "What the hell did you do?" My dad appeared at the top of the stairs, gripping the railing. "He was supposed to stay down there," he muttered. My heart was pounding so loud I could barely hear my own thoughts. "Who is that?" I demanded. My mother's eyes filled with tears. "Your brother," she whispered. "Your twin." For a second, I couldn't breathe. Twin? My mind spun. I had no memory of another child. My mom continued, her words coming out broken and slow. He was sick. So sick. The doctors said there was nothing they could do. He screamed every night in pain, begging for it to stop. Your father couldn't stand it anymore." She glanced up at him, her hands trembling. "He said we had to let him go." My stomach turned. I grabbed Liam and backed toward the stairs. "You killed him?" I shouted. My father's expression was hollow, unreadable. "We ended his suffering," he said quietly. "You were too young to remember." My mother stepped closer. "We buried him here to keep him close. We didn't mean for you to find out. Not like this." I couldn't speak. I couldn't think. I just grabbed Liam's hand and ran. My father called after me, but I didn't stop. We got in the car, and I sped down that road faster than I ever had in my life. My son was crying quietly, holding my arm. "Dad," he whispered, "why would they do that?" I had no answer. When we got home, I called the police. They took it seriously, more seriously than I expected. Within hours, the property was surrounded by patrol cars. They found the remains exactly where I said they'd be. My parents were taken in for questioning, but my father refused to talk. My mother confessed everything. The story came out in fragments. My twin had been born with a rare genetic condition, his life filled with pain. My father had smothered him one night when he was 6 years old. My mother had helped hide the body. They told the authorities they did it out of mercy. The investigation dragged on for months. DNA confirmed what my mother said. The body was indeed my brother's. I spent nights staring at the ceiling, replaying that moment in the basement over and over. The way Liam had looked at me, the certainty in his voice when he said, "We're leaving. Now." I still don't know how he sensed it. The danger, the darkness in that house. Maybe kids just know things we can't. My parents were charged but never served real time. My father's health declined rapidly, and he passed away before the case was even closed. My mother moved into a nursing home, where she spends most days staring at the window, whispering my brother's name. I visit her sometimes, though I don't know why. Maybe part of me still wants to understand how love could turn into something so monstrous. As for Liam, he's different now. Quieter, more observant. One night, a few months after everything, he asked me, "Dad, do you think he's still there? Your brother?" I didn't know how to answer. He looked at me, eyes wide, and said, "When we were in the basement, I heard him." That made my blood run cold. I didn't tell him that sometimes, late at night, I think I hear something too. A soft voice, distant, calling my name. Maybe it's guilt. Maybe it's grief. Or maybe somehow that basement door never really closed. Now, whenever it rains and I smell that faint metallic scent in the air, I remember that day. The wooden chest, my mother's trembling voice, my son's small hand gripping mine. And I realize something that haunts me every time. If Liam hadn't said those words, "Dad, we're leaving. Now," I might have opened that box alone. I might never have made it out. I'll never take my son's instincts lightly again. He saw something that day I couldn't. Something beyond the darkness of that basement. Maybe it wasn't just fear. Maybe my brother was warning him. Warning us to leave before it was too late. Some nights, when Liam sleeps, I stand by his door and whisper, "Thank you," because he saved me. Not just from what I found, but from becoming what my parents became.